Thank you for listening. If you like what you're hearing, please like, share, and subscribe. Now to the show. Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Balance and Sanity. It's me, Monica. Hi. It's been a while since we spoke. Been away on vacation. Things has happened. But I wanted to introduce you to one of my homegirls. She will be joining the conversation for today, and we have some really awesome topics. So this will be coming from the point of view of women for today's episode, and her name is Equan. Yay!
Yay! Hello, everybody. My name is Equan. How's everybody doing? Just give you a little background about me. I met Monica over 3 years ago through a mutual friend. And since we've met, we've just connected on a whole nother level. And we just basically have a lot of things in common. We disagree on certain things, but anytime I need advice on just different things happening in life, I go to her. She's always gave me great advice, whether I agree or disagree. But at the end of the day, she's a wonderful person, and we just connected on just an amazing level. So I'm so glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. You're about to make me cry. Get a little teary.
Don't cry. Don't cry.
I'm so special. I feel so special. Well, thank you for being able to join us tonight, me tonight. So as you know, because you do listen to the podcast, customary to just give us a overview of the week and what's been happening with you. And you can go as personal as you want to, or you can just keep it as flaky as you want to. Either way, it's up to you. As you know that I typically get like a little bit personal. So I'll go first just so you can start thinking about what you want to share. So last week I was away at Carnival, as you saw from like my IG and different things. I was like living up life, having fun in the sun, ended up coming back a shade darker. That sun in Antigua though, let me tell you, I've been to Antigua several times, but this year the sun was so hot that every time it came out, I was like, where's the shade? I need to be in the shade. And my friend's like, oh, we jamming over here in the sun. I was like, yeah, do that. I'm going to jam over here in the shade by myself, two-stepping. Like I was not moving a lot because I didn't want to get dehydrated. That sun was like hella hot. Outside of that, I got to see my aunt, my uncle, my dad. Me and my dad were like going back and forth on like teasing with each other because he kept telling me like you're not really Antiguan, and then my mom was like, yeah, you're like you are more West Indian than people are like actually raised in Antigua. And I was just like, well, you know what, I do what I can do. Like I have to rep my rep my island all day, every day. Did that, came back, went to the doctor today. It was okay. The results, still waiting to hear back the lab. I'm maybe ending up changing medication because my body is now rejecting my medication. And so it's like poisoning me, if that makes sense. Not in the sense of like, oh my God, I'm going to die tomorrow, but in the sense that it's killing all the nutrients that I'm supposed to be retrieving from like food and just everyday life. And so it's killing all of that. So I'm no longer becoming healthy. Trying to think. Outside of that, I've been trying to also self-evaluate and just figure out, in my life what I need to be on a balanced level of just everything is like groovy, dude. Like we're like totally, like that hippie feel of like everything is just okay. Like don't worry about it. Don't stress about life. And I'm starting to realize like it may just be me having to travel every 2 months.
Right. If I could travel every 2 months.
Yeah, if I could travel every 2 months, like that's what I need, but the funds aren't. I shouldn't say that because they are there. I'm just being really cheap. So yeah, so that's been my week in a nutshell. How about yours? How about would you like to share about your week, your day, any major events, anything,
Right.
anything.
So this past weekend, one of my homeboys came to visit me. It was an interesting weekend. It went by super fast, but we got a chance to really catch up. And you might know this person, but we got a chance to catch up and have really good conversation. We wound up going to the shooting range, which is our thing. So I got to really just shoot them up, just release some stress. I had a really rough couple of months with my grandmother passing and everything. So it just felt good to just
Mhm.
have somebody, because just to give you a little quick background, but I am a Bronx native and I exactly always
You're
repping the Bronx
holding.
everywhere I go. However, I am residing in the DMV. So I had one of my homeboys come and he's been, he came and visit me and it just felt great because I moved to a state where I don't know anybody. I don't have any family here. So anytime I get visitors, I'm just like happy. I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want them to leave. However, it got to a point where I did want
Right.
him to leave because we got into it, but that's a whole
Wow.
nother. And then right now I'm just kind of on summer break. So this week I didn't really go to work. Well, today's Thursday. I didn't do anything. Yesterday I had my little boo come over and we, just caught up
Yeah.
and stuff because we haven't seen each other for a couple of days because he's doing his thing and I'm doing my thing. Not in a bad way, but Um,
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
You need
right.
breaks every
So
now
he
and
came
then.
over yesterday, so we got to spend some time together. And then today I just had a very unproductive day. I did absolutely nothing but just sit on a
Amen to that.
couch and watch TV watch me. I haven't even stepped foot outside. And then I got this amazing text from Monica to be on the show, and I was just mad hype
Mhm.
and was like, okay, yes, I'll do it. And now I'm here.
Too hype, too hype. That's great. So we may know the same person that was at your house for the weekend. That's great. I'm happy that that person ended up going to your house and you got to spend time, because I know that in our conversations, you've definitely like mentioned like you wish you can spend more time with him and just like hang out. Have that one-on-one time that you would have had you been living in back in New York, which we miss you
Aw,
dearly. But you know, on to bigger and better things. So, no life lost, I think is the phrase, or no tears lost. Or whatever that phrase is,
right.
that implement that. Um, so that was good. I'm happy that you had it and was such a productive weekend when he came to visit. But yes, weekends always end up going. It's
Yeah,
like it's
it was just
Friday.
super
Wow,
fast.
it's
Like I was
Monday.
picking him up from the bus stop, and all of a sudden I'm taking him to the bus stop to go home. And I'm like, can you get a later
So,
bus? And then after a while, he said something that pissed me off, and I was like, all right, we
yeah.
need to go. Hurry up. Come on, let's go.
Hopefully, during all of this, we'll get to hear what that argument is, but like I said, you don't have to share it, but I'm nosy, so whatever. Um, but
You'll be
prayers up,
going.
God
You'll
willing,
be going. You're
things will work
having
out.
I don't even know
Yeah.
if you can use this phrase, hot girl summer. Like I just learned about this whole hot girl summer and I'm like, if you're
Nope.
over 30, do you qualify to be a hot girl?
Yo, no. No, because hot girls will get you burnt. Like, no, I'm not trying to be nobody. I'm not trying to be a hot girl. Like that happened in the 20s and your teens when you have the time and you can afford to waste time and be a hot girl and do whatever you want. I'm in my 30s. I'm trying to get married and have like a boatload of kids and just like
Right.
live a. It's gonna be hard. I'm not. It's not going to be, but I want to live that struggle life. I'd rather live that struggle life than live a hot girl struggle life.
Exactly. What is like, I mean, a hot girl summer, is this just like you just living your best summer life? Or is it like, I don't know. Now just learning what the whole hot girl summer hashtag thing is because I had no clue.
I think so for me, every time I hear it, I just go back to the phrase of, or that thought when, cuffing season, I think it's the season right before cuffing season. So like everybody's single and ready to mingle. And then once winter hit, it's like, up, cuffing season. I think it's like one of those things. So like you're free to do whatever to whomever during the summer. Right. And be out here just, because dressing as with the least amount of clothes as possible because it's summer. And it gives you like this freedom to do things that you wouldn't do necessarily in the winter, spring, or fall.
Right. Yeah. So I'm guessing that's just a under 30s term or hashtag. Because I've seen people well over 30 hashtagging hot girl summer and using it. So I was just like confused. I'm like, is that a thing? Like, if you over 30?
I think it's about where you are in your life.
Right.
In my 30s, I'm like, I'm not a hot girl, but I know there's like people out there in their 40s talking about, yeah, hot girl summer. And I'm just like,
No.
whoa, boo. Whoa.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. Hasn't been coming up in my hashtag. So I'm A-okay. I think it's also about who you follow. And I've realized that because there's a lot of times that people come up to me and say, did you see this on Instagram? And I'm
Right.
like, no, that's nowhere on my feed. And then 5 weeks later, it might pop up like in a random promo. And I'm just like, oh, this is what they were talking about. And it's because the people I follow don't throw up any of that stuff. So since you were talking about hot girl summer, I wanted to bring up the topic of this particular thing that I've been struggling with, or I've had a conversation with my friends because hot girl summer leads to the way that the reason why we have so many single people out here right now, and women are becoming more aggressive. I'm noticing that, and men are falling back like unbelievably.
Yeah. Tremendously. To the point you second guess, am I even dealing with a man?
Yo, and it's funny when you even put it like that, because then you have to dig deep within your soul to figure out what is a man. Like, what does that even mean? Because if you out here being soft, right, that just might mean that
Hmm.
you're a feminine man. And that's cool. You're just not the man for me. But I need you to own that and let me know from jump instead of having me waste my time.
Right.
Um, and so this little segment we're gonna call Men Ain't Men No More. And so there was a scenario, and I just want to get your opinion on it because I don't think I told you about it. I was talking to one of my homegirls about Curl Fest, and she was telling me how she didn't get to go this year, but I think it was last year she ended up going, and Curl Fest actually ended up changing the format. So before it used to be free, you got a ticket, everybody can come. This year, apparently, they started making people having to pay. And when they made people start to pay, it was less men that showed up. And from what I gather, all the women were very appreciative of this because in the prior year, men were there pushing women out the way to take photos with like graphic designs or poster boards or to jump on a line to get products. And it's like, bro, this is not made for you. This is made for me. And you're pushing me out the way to take this picture. And so when my friend was there and this lady told her that, the lady turned to her and was like, yeah, girl, that's what's going down. Men ain't men no more. And I was just like, nah, bro, this can't be life for real. Have you experienced such a thing in your day-to-day interaction, especially now that you're in a whole nother state?
I have, and it's crazy you say that because I was actually watching They Ready. It's Tiffany Haddish. She has like a series on Netflix
Hmm.
of like women comedians, but she kind of gives like a vast difference of comedians. So she has like a drag queen, she has um a lesbian. I don't even know if
Hmm.
I'm politically correct by saying that, but
Right.
I'm old school, so
Right,
girls
right.
lesbian, and a Spanish woman, like just different women. And then one of the stand up, the lesbian, she's actually part of the Wayans. She's one of the Wayans nieces or whatever. And she mentioned like about fashion, like how fashion has changed. Like she's she's one of the I guess I don't even know what you call it, AG or aggressive woman or
Mm-hmm.
girl. And when she goes shopping now, she's like, now I feel like I'm shopping for to dress like a female because I go in the men's section. They have blouses and skinny jeans and like more fitted clothing like for a
What?
female. She's just like, I can't even dress like a man no more because the men's section has turned to now look like the women's section. And she's just like, I'm just so confused by it now. So it's like, yeah, now I'm noticing with fashion, like I think it's kind of a little bit like too much. Like we're both dressed the same now. Before it was like, I don't know, I like a man that's, yes, well groomed and well dressed,
Right.
but we both can't be wearing like extremely tight or
Oh,
fitted jeans. We both can't be walking around with floral blouses. Like it's
you
just
can be
certain
like,
things
babe,
I
let me buy
feel.
this shirt.
Right. It's just like certain things I just feel like now it's just like anything goes. Like there's
Yeah,
no difference in the fashion, well at least how it's been evolving over the past like couple years. Now it's
right,
just like you see a man, like sometimes you got to second guess because if it's a man with some tight jeans on and they got a little booty back there, they could
yeah.
pass for a female from behind till they turn around and it's like, oh, okay, that's a dude.
Yo, you absolutely right. That's happened to me a couple of times where I've seen somebody and I'm just like, oh, there go that girl. Whoa, that's a guy.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So
I feel you.
that part I feel like it's just different for fashion with men. Like I grew up where men wore, even if the whole baggy jean era is over with, but they always wore like, bigger clothing. Like you always
Yeah,
known to like if you put on your boyfriend's jeans, you got boyfriend jeans. Like my his
right.
jeans should not fit me extremely like tight and fitted.
Yeah,
Like if I
yeah,
have
yeah.
on female jeans. So
Right.
I will have to say I experienced that
So
recently.
so have you also experienced cuz even when we think about men, right?
Hmm.
What makes up a man? Like for us women, we want somebody that is a chaser, that potentially can be aggressive to an extent because if you punch me in my eye, we going to fight.
Right.
But if you see me in a cut and you like, yo, she look good, you stare at me twice, I'm glaring in your eyes, and then you come to me, we consider that to be a man. Some women necessarily don't like or wouldn't consider a man who waits for a woman to approach him. Um, so like even when it comes to dating, because that's what we talk a lot about here, how do you see that translate, whether it be in dating or even in your relationships? Do you feel like men are men still?
No, I actually think women now are kind of making it a little easier for men because now some women are becoming the alpha female where they're the aggressor and they kind of take the load off of a man. Like I've seen women who approach men. So, a man doesn't really have to
Yeah.
necessarily like, yo, I'm feeling this girl, I really want to talk to her. She's cute. I'm feeling her vibe or whatever. Let me try to holler at her or find a way to kind of get her attention. Like now girls are like going after what they want. So,
Right.
I think it's making it easier for men. So,
Hmm.
um, I'm old school and I would keep throwing
Me
that
too.
out where I was always brought up not to chase a man. Like if a man wants you, then they will approach you or they will talk to you or, they would um
Yeah.
come to you. Like I was always just grew up not to chase men. Like, if he likes you, he'll say something to you. You shouldn't have to chase them. But the world that we live in now is like, if I don't say something, then I'm not going to get something because some men they just fall back or they fell back and they allow the women
But don't
to
you
to make the first move.
but okay, so even in that scenario, right? Isn't there still some kind of fault because then it becomes a situation where if he is waiting for you to approach him, there's always going to be, even within a relationship, where you're going to end up being the person in charge, the one taking the lead, the one that's leading this relationship in any. into a direction, and it's never going to be him.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. But out of like all of the men that I've dealt with,
Mhm.
they have been the one to approach me. And I don't know if it's because I've just have that moral instilled in me where I don't chase men at once
Right.
they've we established some type of relationship or connection, then I kind of will, okay, try to um be,
Move it
yeah,
along.
I'll try to be like the aggressor, the one that wants to be in charge, the one that wants things to go my way. But
Right.
other than that, like the first initial move is usually them.
The
Yeah.
guy. Gotcha.
I think one
Ah,
time, matter of fact, one time I actually made the first move, and it was like a dare because everyone knows that I won't say nothing. So it was like, oh, Equana, I dare you to say something to do, because I was already feeling it, dude. Like just off of like just the way he was like dressed and everything like that, and it was kind of like, I mentioned, I was like, oh my god, he's a handsome dude, and my friend's just like, oh, I dare you to say something to him. And I'm like, nah, yo, I ain't gonna say nothing. So I wound up
good.
saying something. Well, actually, I didn't say something. I had wrote something on a piece of paper and I gave it to him and then walked out. And then we kind of connected because then he wound up calling me like the following day. And then we talked, but it never went anywhere because we're in two different states.
Aw.
Yeah, it never went. We like talked. We had like that moment, like that butterfly moment where we like just couldn't get enough for like a month, and then after that it was like, we just stopped talking.
Oh, those are the worst.
Yeah, but I knew it wasn't gonna go anywhere. It was just like something different for me. I'm like, I actually went out and put myself out there, which I don't do,
Gotcha.
and then it worked, but then it was just temporarily. But
Ugh.
I'm like, I won't do that again.
Really?
No, I won't put myself out there again. I mean, everybody's afraid of rejection, but I'm terrified of rejection. And especially if I feel like I'm connected or attracted to somebody and then I put myself out there and it turns out that's not the case, then I'm like devastated, or I feel like I got to start all over again, or so it's just like something with my ego. I just don't like to put myself out there until I feel like I'm somewhat sure, and
Mhm.
then it's like, okay, it's cool.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so I understand where you're coming from now. That makes perfect sense, and I can agree with that. I don't think I've never approached somebody for myself, but I've done it for other people.
Mm.
So I've definitely gone up to a dude and said, "Yo, my homegirl likes you," and then they hit me with the, "But I'm feeling you," and I'm like, "But that's cool. I'm not here for me. I'm here for my homegirl." So I've definitely done that. I find that for me, in my comfortable wear, when I'm just
Hmm.
regular, but if I'm not in that mood, no one looks at me. It's just like, oh my gosh, she's 12 years old.
Well, you think nobody's looking. It could be the case where they're looking, they just afraid to approach you.
Uh, mm,
Because I feel like if you approach men the way that you would want men to approach you,
hmm
it'd probably be the same balance.
really?
Like they probably would really be feeling you. It's just I don't know what dudes. They just don't be doing it.
Because dudes are whack. I'm stop. I'm gonna stop saying that.
They don't. Like, they don't do it. But
If I knew
mhm.
back then what what dating would be like for me now, like, had I had known that dating would be this hard and I wouldn't have found somebody even remotely close to what he was giving me, I'd have tried to make that work even longer or worked harder at
Right.
it and been less selfish. Not to say that we would have still been together 15 years later, but I would have did so much more to think less about self and to think more about us as a unit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
So that's what I
definitely
mean.
agree with I feel you on that. But in my case, I don't think I could. Like my that was the longest, well, ex fiance was the longest that we've been together, like
Right.
13 years. And that was my whole 20s.
Damn.
And like if I don't know, it just wouldn't work. After a
I feel
while,
you.
I after a while, it's like you go through that whole, you grow apart, and it's like you get a whole different um circle of friends and coworkers, and it's just things that kind of just keep pulling you apart. And
Right.
for me, it was just like, nah.
I
Even
get
to
it.
this day, it's like, damn, maybe I could have did this differently, or he could have did that differently. We could have did things differently, and hope, you know, hope that it will work.
Yeah.
But nah,
Yeah, yeah, I get
nah,
it. I still get it.
nah. Yeah, it was just like
Um,
it was meant to happen.
right.
Which it,
And sometimes it bees like that.
yeah,
It's just like it is what it is. You live, you learn, you get loves.
right.
Um,
At first, you're upset because you're just like, oh my god, I feel like I wasted my whole life with this one person. And for me, it's like there's no, like, I have nothing to show for. Like, I have no kid. I mean, we were engaged, but we never got married. There's
right,
like no track record. Like, it's just, we left, and it was no baggage, no nothing. It was just like, you went his way, I went my way. And then it's like, all
but
right, well, now I'm on the scene. I'm approaching my 30s. Well, I was in my 30s when we broke up officially.
right,
And it's like, okay, maybe it might get better, because it's like you in your 30s, you probably have a whole new outlook on life. You got everything that you ever wanted to do out out of your system in your 20s, and now you know what
right.
you want. And it's like, dude, it's not even like that. It's
But
totally not
but
that.
I have
Like,
to
they're
say,
still living their best life, like if they're in their 20s. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, I'm like, you there's like nothing you want to accomplish in your 30s. Like, you don't want to have a serious relationship. Well, most likely you probably have a kid, but you probably don't want to have any more kids anymore, because you got baby mama drama, and you're like, oh, I don't want to deal with another baby mama. Like, it's
right,
just it's just so different. It's not what I expected. I thought it would be a little
right,
easier,
right.
but unfortunately it wasn't. um
Mm,
but just luckily now I met somebody that's like, we connect. It's been maybe over a year now. um I don't get caught
okay.
up in titles, so I just leave it as boo or guy I'm seeing
Oh,
until
you better than me.
I feel like I could say boyfriend in public.
Girl, you are
Yeah,
better
I don't get caught up in
than
the whole
me.
title thing unless, you know, it's like a milestone, like we fiance or married. Right now, it's just like you get these names. You either get your first name, a nickname, a pet name. I don't know. I'm kind of like over the whole boyfriend and girlfriend title thing, and I don't know. It's because of my past, but I'm over it.
It might be. But me, I need titles because I need to
Hmm.
know where the line in the sand is drawn. I need to know what the expectations are because even if when I think about it, right? I think when men say it to us as like, "Oh, we don't need titles, we know what it is." It's just a reasoning for them to do whatever they want. And when we hold them accountable, it's like, "But why can't you can't hold me accountable to that standard? I'm not on that level. We're just kicking it. We're just hanging out. You're the one that I call whenever whatever. We hang out a lot, but that's all it is." And it's like, "Oh, okay. I feel you, boo. So you know what? From here on out, you do you. I'ma do me. And then once you put that on them, now they're up in arms, like, how you gonna do that to me? Blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, but bro, you were living your best life and didn't tell me about it. Now I'm giving you the option to live it 100% of the time now. And now you're upset at me. Don't be. So I feel like for me, that's why titles are very very important because I need to know what you're looking from me and I need you to know what I'm looking from
Right.
you. Yeah, we can have the conversation. Yeah, we can sit down and like lay out these ground rules, but without the title cuz like even if you think about it with work, right? You come to work and they're just like we want you to do all these different things but don't give you the title of it. You're going to be looking at yourself like how am I boo the fool sitting here giving you executive level work and I'm just the assistant.
Right. Right. Right, but even at work, I don't even get caught up in the titles. Like, I mean, I've gotten jobs where, I mean, they gave me a lower level title where I'm doing a higher level title. All I do is put on my resume what my title should be and then just find something else. Like, I never really got like into the titles unless it was like milestone. Like before I was like girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend. Now it's like I established maybe he is my boyfriend. We established that we are seeing each other exclusively, so I know that it's not just any old thing. But I just haven't got to that level where I'm like, that's my boyfriend. I don't know behind. I mean, I'm sure he probably calls me his girlfriend because I know that I've been to his family's functions and they'll call me girlfriend before, they'll refer to me as girlfriend, but like I never heard him say it. So I'm assuming that he's told them something for them to refer to me as it. But um, even if he was, because he hasn't met any of my side of the like family or friends or whatever. So I don't even know how I would introduce him. I don't know if I'll just be like, yo, this is call him by his first name or whatever. Like I don't know if
Right.
I'm like ready to say, okay, this is my boyfriend, or even want to use that. Like I think I'm just over the title.
So here's the thing for that you have to think about as well, and maybe you should think about. You don't have to think about this on the air, so this is totally up to you. But think about how he would feel if he's introducing you as girlfriend and you say, "This is just my friend," or "This is," and then say his first name, because that's gonna leave like a bad taste in his mouth or make him feel a certain way. Like I'm spending all this time with her and I can't even get the title. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. But
although title.
I never heard him like
Hmm.
say that. I'm assuming that maybe he might refer to me like I just haven't seen him or heard him
And
say that. I just know
gotcha.
that his family has mentioned it or I've overheard them say it, but I never heard
Right.
him like introduce me as this is my girlfriend.
That might be a conversation to have with him. Just like ask him, how would you feel if I was to introduce you as my friend or just by your name to a family member and
Right.
see what he says? Because one thing that I've realized, especially when it comes to dating, is that I might feel a certain way about something and be comfortable in my decision. And then
Okay.
I say it to the person I'm dating, and they're just like, well, I haven't dated in a while. But anyway,
Yeah.
and they'll look at me like I got 12 heads, like I'm not down for that cause. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody else may be comfortable in their situation and they bring it to me, and I'm just like, that sounds good in theory, but for me, I can't work like that. And then now we have to have that serious conversation of, do who's ever bringing the term, like, do I give up my desire to have that title to be with this person that doesn't care for titles? Or do I just say, you know what, if you can't give me what I'm looking for me to be solidified in this relationship, maybe it's time for us to, take some time apart and just see where we're at and if we need to continue.
Right.
That's just a thought.
Right. It's
That's just a
definitely a
thought.
thought. It's definitely something I've thought about because like I say, he never met my side. So it's like when that time comes and my side is like dying to meet him and I'm just like, okay, I'll eventually bring him to New York or when y'all come down here, y'all meet
Right,
him. But
right.
it's like, okay, how am I gonna do this intro part? Because
Yeah.
you know. And then he's a type that he's just like so chill. Like he's kind of like me as far as like not really open about their feelings, but if you ask, he'll tell you. He's like that kind
Mhm.
of person. So it's kind of like
Oh,
I'm
that's
dealing with
nice.
myself. In other words,
Right.
where my previous relationship, if you will, this person was just extremely in his feelings.
Oh,
Like I
wow.
always knew how he felt because he'd always expressed how he felt to the point was like this is way too much. This is overwhelming for me because
Right.
I'm not that
Okay.
emotional like that at least up front
Mhm.
where he was. So
Gotcha.
now it's
I get
kind of
it.
like, damn, sometimes I don't even know how he feels. I'll ask him because I'm just a habit
Mm.
of just always wanting to know how he feels, how's his day, how's work. So I'll
Right.
know from that. But like just to be like, oh yeah, I'm having a bad day. I mean, a couple times he's like vented where someone probably pissed him off at work and he'll vent to me.
Tell you.
But for the most
Gotcha.
part, he's very chill.
Hmm.
So I
Okay.
think I definitely need to bring that up before he meets my side. Because he might
That'd
he
be
might feel
funny.
like how you say, like, I don't know. He might feel some type of way.
Yeah. Could you imagine that though? You invite him and be like, brother, this is not that his name is James, but this is James. And then he give you the side eye like, oh boy, wait till I see her later.
Right.
Or like
Or he might
you
be just
introduce him and this is
silent.
like, this is my
He
friend.
might, because
Yeah.
I'm the
You right.
type, like, if I get mad, I'm going to be silent. I'm going to just have a face. And you'll know, like, I'm upset without me saying it.
Right.
I'm going to just have a really
Right.
bad face.
Right.
But I don't want to
I
get to
feel
that. I feel
you.
like I need to, especially since I know he's a type that doesn't really express openly how he feels. Like I
Mm.
always have to
Yeah.
get it out of him. Like I could tell when he's not himself or having a bad day or something's bothering him just because
Right.
it shows without
Yeah.
him saying it, but I want him to
Saying
tell
anything.
me, and that's just something I have to work on with
Right.
him.
I get it. But yeah, so that is so that's great. And so now that we've spoke up a little bit about the men ain't men no more, I just want men to be romantic
Wait,
again.
men ain't men no more because I be seeing men don't hold doors for women. I be seeing
Yo,
men don't open the car door for, on the passenger side, whatever, for the female. Like, I've
right.
seen men who the woman got like 20 bags in their hand and they
Son.
got like one bag and it's probably bread. Like,
Right.
I've seen that. So, that men ain't men no more.
Yo, I've
Men ain't
seen
men.
that. I've seen men curse at women in public. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna so I believe that all relationships, if you never fight, you're in for a whirlwind. Because one thing that my pastor has always said is that even when it comes to friendships, if you've never seen that person angry, you need to be very leery because you don't know what to expect with that kind of person. And a person that you've never seen angry in your entire time of being friends or dating or whatever, that should be a red flag for you. And when he said that, I was like, damn, you right. Because I know when I get angry, move.
Right.
And you need to know that up front in like the first couple of months that we start talking, that when I'm angry, you just need to move out the way, give me my space. Don't try to come at me because we're gonna get to a point where I'm gonna blow up and you're gonna hate me. So even in him saying that, so when I see people outside arguing, I'm just like, that's the whole purpose of your house.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having an issue or you need to scold each other or argue, you do that at home. You don't do that in the middle of the street where you calling that one the B and you tell, like my sister said the other day, she went to the gas station and so she hears people like in the background arguing, so she's not paying no mind to it. And then all of a sudden, this dude was like, "Shut the f up, B." She was like, "What? What?" And then he was like, "Yo, if you don't shut up, blah blah blah, blah. Yo, shut up." And then somehow he was just like, suck my dick. And she was like, you wish I would. And I'm like,
Oh my God. That's
this
wimpy.
happened where?
Don't
She was like, we
embarrass
were
me
at
in
the
public.
gas
I don't care
station.
how mad I get or how
Yo,
mad I make you get. You wait till we behind closed doors. Like you don't curse me out. It's just certain things you just don't do in
right.
public.
And my sister was saying that we're going off, and that wasn't the first time she's heard it. And I'm just like, this is not cool. Because even as a man, like, I get it that you're upset, and I get it that things are, can happen, but you don't ever disrespect your lady out in
Right.
public in front of your kids. Same thing for women. Never disrespect your mate in front of kids outside in public. Like, these are things that I knew back in the 90s. It happened, but it was very rare because people would go home and they would argue. Like you would hear it through the walls because they're having this argument inside the house, outside from people hearing it. And so that the whole romance is dead. Like I've seen this man want to be given flowers or want to be proposed to. And I'm just like, I can't respect you as a man if you're asking me to bring you flowers. Like, no, you're supposed to be doing things for
Right.
me, just like I'm supposed to do things for you. Not saying that we can't do it interchangeably, but if you're expecting what I'm supposed to be getting, like flowers or um you telling me to like dress up, I'm taking you out. Like things that are romantic for women. If I'm doing that for my man, I'm just like, mm, do you really like women? Like I'm starting to question you now. And it's not to say that it's a bad thing.
Right.
You're just not the man for me.
Yeah. Right.
I need somebody. I've always been this way. I need somebody that like takes charge. And I've noticed that in my prior relationships. Yeah, I've tried to give in to those guys, you know, that were kind of timid or shy or weren't as aggressive as I wanted them to be. And each time it's failed because I end up being the person in control, like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to do this. Or please stop talking. No one wants to hear you. Or I end up like somehow embarrassing them in front of people because it's like you have no backbone, so I could do whatever the hell I want to you. And you're just going to have to accept it. And 9 times out of 10, that's what they did because they had no background. So
Right.
yeah, men today, even when it comes with just friendships, it's just very different.
Now, I wonder why
Yeah,
it's different now. Like, is it um just the upbringing? Because I know for our generation growing up, we're like the generation where we had single parent homes, we had deadbeat dads, where, now that we're adults and we're parents. Well, I'm not a parent, you're not a parent, but
right,
friends that are parents, I see a lot of my male friends who like step up, like they're really good fathers, probably shitty boyfriends, but they're damn good fathers. And it's like,
right.
it's just like it's changed, like it's just so different. So I don't know if, like, because a lot of times men will say, well, I didn't grow up with my father in a home, so that's why I'm this type of
Hmm.
way. And it could possibly be true, but I'm like, if you grew up with a bunch of females, wouldn't you have some compassion? Wouldn't you know how to treat a woman? Like, I'm like, that's more of a reason for you to be more romantic. If you're around a bunch of women, if you're
Right.
saying you grew up with a bunch of women in the household, I'm like, you would know what women want. You would know, women want flowers, they want candy, they want to be
Um,
taken out, like they like surprises, well, to a certain extent. So,
right. And
yeah,
we'll get into that.
so I'm like, I don't know how, like, what happened? At what point did this happen where men is just kind of like I said, just kind of taking the back seat, just fell back?
So I attribute that to women, and it sounds weird. And the reason why I attribute it to women is because we allow them to do these things. Because if we think about dating or even our
Hmm.
friends, right? You are quicker to scold your friend for doing something stupid than the person you're
Right.
dating.
Yeah.
Think about it. Even in like your past relationships, if your friend, if y'all in the middle of the street and the friend that came to visit you for the weekend came out his face and said something ridiculous to you, you're just like, nope, and you're sticking to your guns, whether you shot him out right then and there or you say, you know what, you need time out. Please stop talking to me. Go over there when you're ready to talk. I'll be right here waiting for you. But your boyfriend or somebody that you're talking to or dating does the exact same thing. You'll let it slide, like, oh, he was just playing, or you'll make some kind of excuse for him or for that behavior. And so you have that. Then you also have the notion of men will be boys will be boys. So if a man cheats, it's just like, oh, that's what men do. And it's like, why is that even a phrase? The mere fact that we have that as a phrase is the downfall of us to begin with. Like we should be holding a man accountable. Like if you cheat on me or if you flirt with the next chick, I'm not gonna be giving you like this timeout and then take you back in. No, no. If I decide to stay with you every single day I'm with you, you're gonna be reminded of the fact that you pissed me the hell off, made me look like a fool, and you cannot come out your face and say, "Can't you just forget it already?" Ugh, you've just now added 10 more weeks of me annoying you about this. So, what I'm ultimately saying, right, is that we don't hold men that we are dating to a standard where we put them in their place if they do something outrageous. We'd easily say, you know what, it's because of their bad behavior, it's because of their upbringing, it's because of lack of the father. We'll give some kind of excuse for the bad behavior and brush over it and be willing to forgive them quicker than we would say a friend that did the exact same thing. And we never correct their bad behavior. One thing that I've noticed is that you may see women, dressed to the T. I'm talking about heels, face beat, hair done, and their man have this holy shirt on with these ripped jeans hanging off their behind. And it's just like, yeah, we're cute together. And I can only imagine what's going in her head. Like, I came out my house looking this good, and this dude had the nerve to show me his behind or have his boxers showing. Like, can't he pull up his pants? But because we are so desperate, I don't know if desperate's the right word, but because we want to be in a relationship so bad, we'll just
Desperate.
allow, okay, if that's the word you decide. But we'll allow men to get away with things because we're afraid of being single. Like, I knew a girl who was in the same relationship for 7 years because she was waiting for the ring. And I'm just like, but why are you waiting 7 years for a ring? If he didn't marry you within the first two, chuck the deuces. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. Yeah, you're gonna be upset. Like, you're not with the same person that you've been with for the 2 years, but you would have saved yourself a whole lot of time and pressure. And I think now she waited, she got the ring, they're divorced. And I'm just like, you could have saved yourself all that time and trouble and the paperwork and money that it goes into divorcing. And that's not the one and only story that I've heard. Like, I know of other people where 5 years in, they're just like, well, I've spent 5 years. I might as well just wait because, I've already been here. And it's like, being single is definitely an option. Just saying, you'll save yourself mind, mental health.
Mhm.
Like, it's not even worth it. But, it's one of those things that it's an epiphany that everybody has to have at different stages in their life. I just hope that you don't get married when you have that epiphany, because the divorce is not cheap. Attorneys aren't cheap. The time and effort that goes into getting a divorce, it's definitely something. So that's just my little rant on that. Today's episode had to be cut short, so you're going to be getting part 2 next week. Thank you for listening to another episode of Balance and Sanity.